Hi, welcome to the China Leadership Dilemma podcast, where once upon a time, I thought being in the 1% of 1% would be sufficient to crush it in China. But a lack of awareness and empathy caused me to experience some unexpected disappointments that we now call CLDs, or China Leadership Dilemmas. Today, my guest is Kai Boyer. Now, I'm going to do a brief introduction of her background. So she started off with a promising career as a professional tennis player. She won 4 junior national championships in tennis. She was ranked #1 in Southern California, top 20 in all of the United States, and she played #1 singles and doubles at UC Santa Barbara. But unfortunately, she suffered a career-ending hip injury. So she had to transition from being an aspiring tennis player to doing something else. And the interesting thing about Kai is she decided to not just be a fitness trainer, but she decided to be an entrepreneur. So she started Kai Boyer Fitness. And what we're here today to do is to learn a little bit about her story. And you're going to find a lot of interesting things that she had to overcome, not only in her personal journey to reach where she is today, but also in the unique system and methodology she's developed to help her clients. So Kai, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here today.
Okay, so Kai is one of these really, really interesting people. She's, so iTunes is without video, but when you see this on YouTube, you can see that Kai is a really beautiful woman, but she's also really shy. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get Kai to open up to us today about her story and her journey, and learn a little bit about her business and what she's doing today. So you spent 15 years of your life basically dedicated to tennis. So how difficult was it to finally accept that your tennis career was over? And can you tell us a little bit about what happened and why your tennis career ended?
You know, it was a difficult transition period for a while. I had to give up my scholarship. I had to give up a sport I had lived and breathed for 15 years. And there was kind of that period of, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. And I found that through working out. I was going to the gym every day, and that's where I really found my passion for personal training. Okay,
so how did you suffer the injury?
Just from overtraining, years after year, and eventually I got injured. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's something that you can't rehab.
So it was mainly due to overtraining?
It was due to overtraining, not misuse, but that's a common sports injury, is athletes are pounding on their bodies day after day. So overuse injuries are very common.
Now, were you working with trainers back then who kind of overtrained you, or were you just pushing yourself too hard?
It was a combination, kind of both. I felt like we overtrained a lot when we were playing in college. Mm-hmm. We weren't having enough time to rest our bodies, and that's how injuries happen. Unfortunately, for me, it was a career-ending injury.
Okay. How long between knowing that you were no longer going to be a professional tennis player to actually developing a career as a personal trainer? I mean, how long did that transition take, and how quickly did you know that's the direction that you would take your life and now take your business?
It was about 6 months while I was studying, getting my certifications, learning more about, human anatomy, how the body works. Mm-hmm. I had always worked out for myself. I knew how to work out my own body. But it's a whole different thing when you're going to be teaching people how to train their own bodies, and you have to understand the backside of physiology much more.
Okay. So when you learned that at UC Irvine, or you at
I did different certifications, and there's a lot of different courses I took for nutrition, for strength training, for athletes, to really learn about each of those segments.
Okay, so you kind of knew that you would still be involved in kind of the sports or fitness industry.
Absolutely. And I didn't see myself ever leaving, something where you're very active and very physical.
Okay. And, the interesting thing that I learned is, you were a master trainer at LA Fitness Signature Club. Can you tell us what a master trainer is?
So a master trainer is after you've helped 100 clients reach their goals. So I worked really with the high-end clientele, people with special needs, people right after surgeries, athletes, helping them reach their goals. And after, doing that for about 2.5 years, I started my own business, Kaizen Fitness, and I've been doing that for about 2.5 years now. So I have about 5 years of experience.
Now, did you suddenly just one day wake up and say, I could make a lot more money if I did this myself instead of doing it? Is that what happened?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I saw what my clients were paying, and I saw what
what they were paying at LA Fitness.
So I was well aware of it, and they were only getting 25-minute sessions, and they were paying a ridiculous amount of money. And that's what I was able to do once I started my own business. Is I was able to make it more affordable for my clients, but I was also able to give them double the session time, so they were able to get better results faster, and also better results for their money.
Oh, okay. And so did you take a lot of your LA Fitness clients over to Kai Boyer Fitness?
I did, and I have some of the greatest clients that have been with me for over 4 years now. And they've come with me, and we've continued building my business, and we have a lot of new clients, and it's always great to really build that culture.
Okay. And I also went through your website and looked at some of your social media posts. You've kind of developed your own philosophy that kind of integrates health and nutrition together.
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think, health and wellness, it all goes hand in hand, as far as working out, as far as eating right, as far as supplementation, as far as cardio, sleeping well, all those things really tie in together. It's not, something that you can do piece by piece. They all have to be integrated together.
How about I saw the word Kaizen on your website.
So Kaizen is a philosophy of trying to improve yourself in all areas of life, whether it's, your fitness and your wellness, whether it's efficiency at work, whether it's home life, whether it's family, whatever it is. It's about the, state of continuous improvement. So it's something I really strive for all my clients to believe and try to do. Okay,
so you must work with kind of you don't just work with a specific kind of, 20-year-old women who are preparing for summertime bikini season. You work with a whole spectrum of males and females, younger people, performance athletes, and also older people like me who just want to be healthier and have more energy. How do you approach the different types of people that you have to interact with?
Absolutely. So, you have to kind of look at what each client needs. And, as far as the different demographics I work with, I work with a lot of athletes. So we'll look at the fundamental movements they need for their sport. I work with a lot of tennis players. So obviously the movement and the agility for them is going to be a little bit different than a dancer I work with or a soccer player I work with. So you kind of have to look at the fundamentals for each person. I also work with a lot of clients right after surgery. So we have to look at, what their limitations are and, continue progressing their movements, continue progressing their workouts as they improve and as they continue to strengthen.
Now, do you work with people who are rehabilitating from sports-related injuries or any injuries?
I work with all the above, older clients that are having knee replacements. One of the most common things I work with is actually older athletes that are now in their 60s and 70s that now, their bodies are kind of falling apart. They've had different replacements. For a lot of them, it's, even just getting out of the wheelchair, being able to walk, chase after their grandkids, stuff like that. But I do work with a number of young athletes, improving their game. If they have a knee injury, rolling ankles, stuff like that, getting them back on the court. Okay.
Well, let's just take me for an example. I'm in my mid-40s. What would you kind of recommend for me?
It kind of depends what goals, you're looking to achieve, whether you are looking to gain muscle, you're looking to lose weight.
I'm looking to live longer.
You're looking to live longer. So that's always a tough one.
And obviously live healthier.
Healthier. So it's really about integrating a healthy lifestyle. So it's not just so much about a fad diet or trying to lose, 20 pounds for summer. It would be about, lifestyle and living that healthy lifestyle over the long haul. So eating the right things, exercising every day, getting enough sleep, all of those things really play a factor in the longevity of your life.
Yeah. So how should I change my diet?
It depends, what you're looking to do. For you to be more high protein, lower carbs, more complex carbs, more vegetables. And I lay out a nutrition plan for each client, based on what they're looking to do. We do customized meal plans, daily meal breakdowns, recipes, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I recently heard there's so much stuff going on in the fitness industry these days.
There really is.
I've heard terms like biohacking, meal sequencing, and even the term cruciferous vegetables. I didn't even know what that was, before I moved to Southern California.
Yeah, it's definitely on the forefront of the fitness and wellness industry. So we're always keeping up with the latest and the greatest.
Okay. So one of the things that, so a lot of you might be interested. So, why have I invited Kai to be a guest on the China Leadership Dilemma podcast? So you might not be able to see this from iTunes since it's audio only, but Kai is also a mixed race. She's actually half Chinese, half Russian. So I want to give Kai a chance to kind of explain how her experience growing up in kind of this biracial family environment and how maybe that affected your perspective or how you grew up.
I think, it really gives you a great cultural appreciation for different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised Jewish as well, so it was always a little bit different where I was different than the rest of my friends that were raised in just one culture.
Were you Jewish on your mom's side?
Yes.
Okay.
So we grew up kind of celebrating everything. We celebrated Hanukkah, we celebrated Christmas. So I think it kind of gives you a greater cultural appreciation.
Did you celebrate Chinese New Year's?
We did. We kind of did it all.
Okay. And also, it's interesting that because you were an aspiring athlete, you were also homeschooled.
I was homeschooled up until my senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely a different experience than a lot of kids have. Mm-hmm. It was definitely interesting for, to be 17 years old and for the first time to be walking into a classroom and having to follow along with the bell schedule and all the other things that go along with going to school. So it was definitely a learning curve for me.
So what does it actually mean to be homeschooled? Is it your parents teaching you or is it private tutors teaching you?
We did it through an online program called Laurel Springs, which a lot of, child athletes or child stars will do. So it's kind of the same as going to school. You listen to a program, you fill out your homework, you still have deadlines, you still have to write papers, take all the tests. Kind of the same thing. It's just you're able to do it when you're able to, and for me, a lot of the time it was on a plane or on a train, wherever we were going for a tournament. So it wasn't so much that I was.
So you didn't have any classmates?
I did not.
Okay. And you started homeschooling from like first grade? Or?
Yeah, I was homeschooled all the way up until my senior year of high school.
So who were your friends when you were younger?
That's what everyone asks. You really just like my tennis friends because most of us were kind of in the same boat where we, didn't have normal childhood. So we just, most of my friends were from tennis.
Okay. And then you had your first classmate when you started UC Santa Barbara.
I went to University High first when I was 17, and then I went to UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
It was, it was definitely an interesting experience. I'm glad I got to do it. It was a great experience getting to go to uni. It was great getting to go into a classroom with 30 people before I went to Santa Barbara where there was, 700 people in a class. Mm-hmm. So I think that would have been much more overwhelming for me. So it was great. I got to kind of have that stepping stone in between.
So what about some of the social aspects of having classmates and dating and going out to parties? I assume as a professional tennis player, you weren't allowed to party much.
Oh, no. I was still very structured. I still, as soon as I was done with school, I went straight to practice. A lot of times before class in the morning, I'd go to the gym, I'd go for a run. So I still really, lived like an athletic lifestyle. It wasn't that I got to be a normal kid by any means.
Okay. So did you ever experience any kind of peer pressure?
I would say peer pressure. It was just, I was kind of on my own, I was on my own regiment. It was definitely different where a lot of my friends didn't understand why I couldn't go out on a Friday night or I couldn't go out Saturday night. It's like, well, I have a tournament tomorrow. You can't go out and do this kind of things.
No, but what about once your tennis career was over, then you could start going out? Did you start going out?
Yeah, somewhat. I got into working full time. That's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
When I started at LA Fitness, I was working 6 days a week. So and I was starting a lot of times at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh.
So it was kind of the same schedule I was used to from tennis, where there wasn't a whole lot of free time and not a whole lot of social time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already used to it. I was really used to being self-driven,
Mm-hmm.
which I think really helped me in being an entrepreneur because I was used to doing everything by myself, for myself, in a sense.
Do you attribute any of that to your parents?
Absolutely.
And talk a little bit about that. Why do you feel you're more self-driven? How did they push you or raise you to make you kind of more self-driven or even more entrepreneurial?
Well, my parents are entrepreneurs. They have their own business. It's a third family generation business. So I've seen, how hard they work, day in, day out. My grandmother's in her 80s and she still works. So I already had that work ethic. And I saw what they had to do and the sacrifices they had to make for my tennis. And it really gave me that appreciation for, working hard for family, really for the opportunities that they gave me.
Yeah, one of the things that we didn't talk about beforehand, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I don't. I'm an only child.
Okay.
And I'm an only grandchild.
You're an only child and an only grandchild. Okay. I'm also an only child.
You are?
Yeah, but my grandparents have like 20 or 30. I have 20 or 30 cousins.
Oh, wow. That's
tons
a
of
lot.
cousins. Because my mom has 5 aunts and uncles on her side. No, my mom has 4 aunts and uncles on her side, and my father has 5 more on his side.
Wow.
So, wow. So that's so you were homeschooled also without siblings.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, but you're so good with your clients. So obviously you've developed, where did you develop your kind of social skills to work with your clients?
I don't know. You have to really find empathy and be able to connect with people. I don't think it's something I really learned or tried to work on. It's just a matter of connecting with people and, them having to trust me and be, knowing that I'm going to help them reach their goals. And right away, especially in personal training, they have to trust you because they're going to talk to you about the things, they're self-conscious about, the things they don't like about their bodies, the things they want to change about their life. And you have to really be able to connect with them.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing. So, when you're doing business across cultures, one of the most important aspects is first you have to develop that trust.
Absolutely.
And working with so many different clients, you have females, males, you have young, you have old, you have athletes, you just have, middle-aged men who want to get healthier. What has been, do you ever kind of think about how to develop empathy or why what do you do to help people to open up about, being overweight or, having poor habits?
I think it's really about being a good listener, asking the right questions, and just really having a non-judgmental environment.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of ladies will be kind of nervous about coming in, working out in a big gym, like, next level. And it's just really kind of creating that safe space for them to be able to talk to me, but also be able to work out, not feel self-conscious, and just really be focused on them. And that's what I always tell them. Everyone here is here to focus on themselves, here to improve themselves. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks. Don't feel like anyone's looking at you. Don't feel like anyone's judging you. You're here to improve yourself.
Yeah, that's it just seems like what you do is just such a microcosm of what people need to do when they do business overseas, especially when foreigners or Americans, they go over to China. I always tell them that you can't be judgmental.
Absolutely.
Have you, because I guess where you work now, you have, you're in a group and there's a lot of other personal trainers there. Have you ever kind of experienced where clients of other personal trainers wanted to switch trainers because they didn't like their trainers? And was it because what was the reasons why they didn't like their trainers? Or what's one of the reasons why people switch trainers?
I would say one of the reasons that people switch trainers is usually like they don't feel their trainers focusing on their goals or not paying enough attention to them, not really listening to them, not really connecting with them.
Have you ever had somebody switch either to you or away from you?
Not so much with where we're at now. Before, different trainers, and that also happens with scheduling. If a client doesn't fit in the schedule, then you have to talk to another trainer and see who else they'll work well with. But not something I really deal with. Most of my clients stay with me for years and years, so that's not a huge issue I deal with.
Okay. So one of the things that we also want to kind of just, you've been doing Kai Warrior Fitness for how many years now?
2.5 years.
So just only 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the current state of your business and maybe where you want to take this business over the next 3 to 5 years and maybe even beyond.
Well, right now I have 3 facilities in Irvine, Newport Beach, and Corona Del Mar. I launched my online program at the end of last year, and I also am an ambassador for 6 different companies.
Oh, wow.
So that's, I'm developing multiple sides of the business. I would really like to expand my online presence and my online business much more and be able to work with my clients all over the world. Especially with the international market, I do have a lot of clients that move back to their countries. A lot of the students that will, go back to China or go back to Singapore. So being able to still connect with them is a huge part that I would really like to expand. I've played with a lot of different ideas. I would love to write a book, a little bit more of my philosophy and being able to just really promote that healthy lifestyle and changing your overall health and wellness. But right now there's a lot of different things in the works, so it's hard to kind of explain all of it.
Yeah, no, I want to just dive a little bit deeper on 2 aspects. One is, can you tell us a little bit about your own unique philosophy to health and wellness and fitness? Like, what are the real things that you help your clients focus on?
One of the things I really really focus my clients on is enjoying what you do. So I build a lifestyle program for them, and I'm not a big fan of cutting things out. I'm a big fan of substituting. So when it starts with the diet, you don't want to take away all of their favorite things. We want to make little substitutions that are healthier for them. So they don't feel like, oh, they're missing out on everything. Because that's where usually people do a crash diet, but they gain all the weight right back. Because they're sitting around obsessing about all their favorite foods they're missing out on. Same thing with working out. I want to build a program that they enjoy. So most of my clients will come see me 2 to 3 days a week. And whether their passions, going for a swim, going for a bike ride, going to Zumba class, I highly encourage them to keep doing that. And we kind of build a structured week where they do the things they enjoy. Because if I'm going to try to force a client to come work out, in a gym 4 or 5 days a week and they don't enjoy it, that's going to become a chore for them. It's not something they're going to maintain. It's not something they're going to really dedicate themselves to. So I'm all about really finding that program that fits your lifestyle for the long term. Because, fitness and improving your health doesn't happen overnight. It needs to be something you're in for the long term.
Yeah, that's also a good segue to the next question that I want to just talk a little bit about how that ties into your online business and what you're trying to develop there.
So my online program right now is both the workout side, but also the nutrition side. So as far as the custom workouts, it's through an app where my clients download the app and I'm able to write them notes. I'm able to schedule their workouts, plan the weights, the reps, the rest time, the whole 9 yards for them. I'm able to write individual notes for them and tell them exactly what areas to focus on, what muscles to squeeze. It also has 3D animated videos to go along with every exercise, so it's a little bit easier for them. The nutrition planning, same kind of thing. I'm able to build custom workout or custom diet plans for them, and it counts their macros, their sugars, their proteins, all of that for them.
Okay, so how would our audience who's interested in this type of personal training or your online programs, how would they connect with you? How would they find out about it?
Everything's on my website. Online programs are on my website.
Okay, so we'll make sure that everybody has access to your website when this goes out live. it's been really enjoyable talking to you.
It's been great being here. Thank you so much for having me, Gene.
Before we go, I want to ask one more question, because I feel like all the questions were centered around health and fitness and the things that you already know how to answer. I want to try to ask you a hard question that make you think a little bit.
Oh boy, okay.
Okay, so I want you to try to think back, and it can just be working with clients in your current business, or it could even be before, but maybe in your current business. What we really want to talk about is when you experienced an unexpected disappointment. So a client disappointed you, or a partner disappointed you, or a potential sponsor disappointed you. Being disappointed happens all the time, but most of the time we kind of know what we did wrong and we expected the outcome. Can you recall a time where your disappointment was kind of unexpected?
I think probably one of my, greatest disappointments was not getting to play, all 4 years of college tennis. And, but I do think everything happens for a reason. So I think there's only, so much time you can focus on disappointment and how things went wrong. And I'm a big fan of just constantly improving in all areas of life. So whether it's my business or whether it's my personal life, always just trying to, move forward and learn from your mistakes, I think is really important.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wave goodbye to our audience because it's being filmed in video also. But this will also be on iTunes and Kai Warrior Fitness. Thank you very much. And say goodbye to the audience.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
having me.
Okay.